New poll out today from the Washington Post on the likability of the Democrats and Republicans in Congress, and it's both fascinating and wildly contradictory. So let me break it down. They say, quote, an astounding 72% of Americans say they are unhappy with Republicans in Congress. It's a very large number, okay? 72% are unhappy with them. They continue, 54% and 61% said they disapprove of Obama and the Democrats. So the Democrats are doing much better. It's not just a little bit. Obama has almost a 20-point lead over the Republicans in Congress. Only 54% dislike Obama and only 61% dislike the Democrats. They say, quote, Republicans' approval rating has been terrible for years, and Congress as a whole is almost universally disliked at 14% approval. Now, that's really interesting and really important. So, I remember it wasn't that long ago when the approval rating of Congress was 9%. So it rebounded slightly to get to 14%. And understand, who controls Congress? Who controls the House of Representatives right now? Republicans. Now, they won it unjustly because the Democrats actually got more votes in the last election, 1.8 million more votes, but the Republicans gerrymandered and they ended up maintaining control. So all of this evidence points to what logical conclusion? Well, let's break it down. The Republicans are more disliked. Congress is way more disliked than Senate Democrats and then President Obama. And, of course, the House of Representatives, again, they are majority Republicans. So the American people are clear. We don't like the Republicans more. So this is going to fare well for the Democrats in the upcoming election, right? Quote, the findings may not have a strong bearing on the GOP's midterm election chances. Recent polls show the Republicans have an edge in both the Senate and the House. So understand that, because this is very important. When you ask the question about likability, okay, the Democrats win by a landslide. But then when you ask the question about, well, who's voting and who are you going to vote for, the likely voters say, well, we're going to vote for the Republicans. But wait a second, isn't that contradictory? Isn't that absurd that you're telling us you dislike the Republicans more, but you're going to vote for them? So what does that mean? Well, it means basically exactly what it says. Take it for what it's worth at face value. They don't need to like you to vote for you. They don't need to like you to vote for you. So what does that prove? I think that proves even further a point that I've been making for years, that I've been screaming from the rooftops, which is the Democrats need to attack. The Democrats need to argue for their position, and they never do. They don't know how to brag. They don't know how to take a victory lap. Now, understand something. Am I saying that the Democrats have been fantastic in every way, shape, and form since they've taken over? Absolutely not. I can point to a million things I hate their policies on, or things they haven't pushed hard enough, or areas where they've been flat out conservative in their priorities. So that's a separate conversation. But in terms of are they better than Republicans? Yes. Substantively, they're better than Republicans. But they don't know how to make an argument. Let me ask you a question. How long ago was it? Just about a year ago, maybe, that we had this whole government shutdown debacle where the Republicans, trying to repeal Obamacare for the 51st time, said we're going to shut down the government to try to get our way. Now, everybody was explaining to them, wait a second. The Democrats control the Senate, and President Obama would veto anything you try to do in terms of repealing his signature accomplishment. But they shut down the government anyway. Ted Cruz did his fake filibuster, and then they shut down the government, which hurt the economy tremendously, billions of dollars worth, okay? Their approval ratings tanked. And what have the Democrats done since then on that issue? Nothing. Silence. You can't hear anything. Fucking crickets. If I was running the Democratic Party, every week after that shutdown, I would have sent people on all the different shows, on all the different networks to say, oh, yeah, that's interesting. You know, the American people should remember that it's the Republicans who shut down the government when they don't get their way, like a group of whiny fascists. Okay? The American people didn't want the government shut down. The Republicans said, we don't care. They're a group of whiny fascists. Remember that when you go to the voting booth next time. I would hammer that home. I would hammer home the accomplishments, the achievements of Obamacare. Do you have any idea? There's stories that come out every week talking about how Obamacare is wildly successful. Is it perfect? Of course not. A Medicare for all system would be perfect. Okay, let's be clear about that. But there are plenty of stories where, X amount of people got saved from being kicked off of their health insurance because they hit what would have been their lifetime cap. All these people that got coverage because they had pre-existing conditions, but now the insurance companies are forced to take them in. People in my state of New York, premiums have been cut by 50% because of Obamacare. Why are you not bragging about these things? It doesn't make any sense not to brag about these things. And you know why? Because the Democrats, they're wonky intellectuals. So when they do something good, they just kind of sit back and expect everybody to recognize that they did something good. No, that's not how politics works. You think some guy who's working a 9-to-5 job 6 days a week, super busy with his kids when he's not at work, you think he's going to remember all these things? Of course not. Of course not. And even if, he does remember, as most people will, Obama and the Democrats passed Obamacare, when the Republicans are constantly attacking it, you can't just sit them and let them do that and define the bill. You need to come out and say, no, let me explain why they're wrong. How about on the issue of the economy? Look, the Democrats are not perfect on the economy. In fact, most of the job creation has been low-wage jobs. Higher-paying jobs have been replaced by low-paying jobs. But is the Obama economy better in most, if not all ways, compared to the George Bush economy? Well, why don't you go out there and talk about the unemployment rate? Why don't you go out there and say, hey, George W. Bush left us 9%, 10% unemployment because of his economic policies. Now it's a little bit over 6%. So you can thank the Democrats for cutting the unemployment rate drastically and preventing a depression. Why don't you go out there and repeat that time and time and time and time again? You don't do it. You don't do it because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know how to campaign. You don't know how to make a positive argument. You don't know how to brag about your accomplishments. The fucking Republicans brag when they do something bad. When they do something bad, they override the evilness of their policies just with confidence. They'll go out there. Bill Maher made a great point in his recent stand-up special, which just happened. He said, the Republicans make polls. The Democrats run from polls. The Republicans can look at a poll where something's like 40%, 35% favorability, and they go, great, now let's all work on it to get it above 50%. So they all go on all the different network shows. They all hammer home their talking points until it's just, Washington Wisdom 101 around the country where, the Democrats are weak on foreign policy. The Democrats are weak on foreign policy. Well, I guess the Democrats are weak on foreign policy, even though it's President Obama who got bin Laden and Bush and Cheney didn't. See, what the Democrats need to learn is that. The Democrats, I could give so many examples. Here, gay marriage. Why has there not been bills proposed on a federal level to legalize gay marriage? Why have they not done that? 59% of the American people, according to the most recent polls, believe in gay marriage on a federal level. That's an overwhelming majority. But what do the Democrats do? No, we need like 72%. And then when it gets to 72%, what are they going to do? Well, we need like 90%. And then when it gets to 90%, what are they going to do? Well, we need like 95% before we actually act on that. And what's my evidence for this? Why am I saying you need like 95% before the Democrats move? Look at the issue of a universal background check. 93% of the American people were in favor of that. What did the Democrats do? Well, I think we should act on it, but I'm not sure. Maybe we should take another poll and see if we can get 98% approval rating before we do it. And what happened? When they proposed not a universal background check, which 93% of the American people wanted, a watered-down background check, the Republicans smacked it down, and then they fucking bragged about it. No, you have to learn that human beings, we're only human. We are animals. We respond to confidence the same way any other animal responds to confidence.